Shabbat Shalom. We'll be reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 100 to 102, and moving into the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, and lastly, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8. Bear with me as I try to get through this, y'all willing. The book of Psalms, chapter 100, verse 1. Raise a shout for Yahuwah, all the earth. Verse 2, serve Yahuwah with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Come before his presence with singing. So I guess this is where, the congregations get, the idea of singing and praise and worship. Verse 3, know that Yahuwah, he is Elohim. He has made us, and we are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. We are his. He made us. He has made us. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Verse 4. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. Verse 5. For Yahuwah is good. His loving commitment is everlasting, and his truth to all generation. So that was chapter 100. This is chapter 101, verse 1. I sang of loving commitment and right ruling. To you, O Yahuwah, I sang praises. Verse 2. I act wisely in a perfect way. When do you come to me? I walk in the midst of my house with a perfect heart. Let me reread that. Verse 2. I act wisely in a perfect way. When do you come to me? I walk in the midst of my house with a perfect heart. Verse 3. I set no matter of Belial before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It does not cleave to me. This is the point where we need to all strive to get to. Whereas though we're hating our own flesh works, the works of our own flesh, and the work of the flesh around us. Verse 3, I set no matter of Belial before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It does not cleave to me. Verse 4, a perverse heart turns away from me. I do not know evil. Verse 5, him who secretly slanders his neighbor, I cut off. I do not tolerate one. This is where we need to be. Cutting off people who secretly slander their neighbor. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 101. And verse 4, it says, a perverse heart turns away from me. I do not know evil. Verse 5, him who secretly slanders his neighbor, I cut off. Him who secretly slanders his neighbor, I cut off. We got to start cutting off these slanderers and cut it out of ourselves if we find ourselves slandering our neighbor. You know what I mean? We got to cut that version of ourselves off and cut the people, who is doing this around us, cut them off as well. Him who secretly slanders his neighbor, I cut off. I do not tolerate one. I do not tolerate one. So we can't, we got to get to a point that we're not even tolerating it. We're not tolerating this in ourselves and others. Who has a haughty look and a proud heart. Verse 6, my eyes are on the trustworthy of the land to dwell with me. He who walks in a perfect way, he serves me. Verse 7, he who practices deceit does not dwell in my house. He who speaks lies does not stand in my presence. Verse 8, each morning I uproot all the wrong of the land to cut off all the workers of wickedness from the city of Yahuwah. So yeah, chapter 101, chapter 101 is a standard for us to strive to get to. he basically said, my eyes are on trustworthy of the land to dwell with me. He who walks in a perfect way, he serves me. He who practices deceit does not dwell in my house. He who speaks lies does not stand in my presence. Each morning I uproot all the wrong of the land to cut off all the workers of wickedness from the city of Yahuwah. And this is how it would be, in the kingdom, around kingdom people, no lies, no workers of wickedness, no practitioners of deceit, trying to, spin people, pull the wool over people's eyes, and, finesse people. None of that will be, none of that should be around you. Slander, those who slander their neighbors secretly. You know what I mean? Verse chapter 102, verse 1. O Yahuwah, hear my prayer and let my cry come to you. Verse 2, do not hide your face from me in the day of my distress. Incline your ear to me in the day I call. Answer me speedily. Verse 3, for my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burnt like a hearth. Verse 4, my heart is stricken and withered like grass, for I have forgotten to eat my bread. Verse 5, because of the sound of my sighing, my bones have cleaved to my flesh. Verse 6, I have been like a pelican of the wilderness. I have been like an owl of the desert. Verse 7, I have watched and I am as a bird alone on a housetop. Verse 8, my enemies reproach me all day long. Those who rave against me like sworn, those who rave against me have sworn against me. Verse 9, for I have eaten ashes like bread and mixed my drink with tears. Verse 10, because of your displeasure and your wrath, for you have lifted me up and thrown me down. Verse 11, my days are like a shadow that lengthens, and I wither away like grass. Verse 12, but you, O Yahuwah, shall be enthroned forever, and the remembrance of you be to all generation. Verse 13, you yourself shall arise and have compassion on Zion, for the time to favor her, the appointed time has come. Verse 14, for your servants have been pleased with her stones, and they favor her dust. Verse 15, and the nations shall fear the name of Yahuwah, and all the sovereigns of the earth your esteem. Verse 16, for Yahuwah shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his esteem. Verse 17, he shall turn into the prayer of the destitute, and he shall not despise their prayer. Verse 18, this is written for a generation to come, so that a people to be created praise Yahuwah. Verse 19, for he looked down from the height of his set apart place. From heaven, Yahuwah viewed the earth. Verse 20, to hear the groaning of the prisoner, to release those appointed to death. Verse 21, to declare the name of Yahuwah in Zion and his praise in Jerusalem. Verse 22, when peoples gather together and reigns to serve Yahuwah. Verse 23, he has humbled my strength in the way. He has shortened my days. Verse 24, I said, O my El, do not take me away in the midst of my days. Your years are throughout all generations. Verse 25, you did found the earth of old, and the heavens are the work of your hands. Verse 26, they shall perish, but you remain, and all of them grow old like a garment. You change them like a coat, and they are changed. Verse 27, but you are the same, and your years have no end. Verse 28, the sons of your servants continue, and their seed is established before you. So this is where what stood out to me in this chapter is that, it says, you are the same and your years have no end. So basically, like, it says basically how the Most High, doesn't change. And, you know, another thing that stood out was, this is written for a generation to come. You know, these words pretty much we're the generation that came. This was written for a generation to come. This is the book of Psalms, by the way. I just finished reading the chapter 102 of the book of Psalms. We're going to get into the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs, chapter 22. Book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 1. A good name is preferable to great riches. Favor is better than silver and gold. Verse 2. The rich and the poor meet together. Yahuwah is the maker of them all. Yahuwah is the maker of them all. Verse 3. A clever one foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple go on and are punished. See, those who are wise, spiritually wise, knowledgeable, and understanding sees danger ahead and, protects themselves, hide themselves. They don't keep going, But on the other hand, fools, they keep going, even though there's danger ahead, and even though people have warned them and advised them that there's danger and, misfortune ahead, they just keep doing what they do. Verse 4, the reward of humility is the fear of Yahuwah, riches and esteem and life. So the reward of being humble is the fear of Yahuwah, which is to hate evil. That's the reward. You'll learn how to hate evil and fear Yahuwah, which is to love Yahuwah, is to hate what he hates. Hate what he hates, which is evil. All that he considers evil in these writings. And that's the reward of being humble. The reward of humility is the fear of Yahuwah, and we know the fear of Yahuwah is to hate evil. So the reward of humility is the fear of Yahuwah, not just the fear of Yahuwah, but riches and esteem in life. So when you're humble, what comes with being humble is riches, esteem, meaning your credit, the props that you're due, the credit that you're due, and life. That's what comes with being humble. Life in the now and in the after. Because that's the key to the kingdom is humility. The key to getting in the kingdom is humility, which I explained in my recent videos I just uploaded. But yeah, those are the rewards of humility. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 4. The reward of humility is the fear of Yah, which is to hate evil, the ability to hate evil, and riches, esteem, and life. Riches, glory, esteem, credit, props, and life. So, yeah, make this one of your favorite verses. To show that, yeah, if you're humble, you got riches coming your way. If you're humble, you have life coming your way. If you're humble, you have glory, credit, that you deserve coming your way. Verse 5, thorns, snares are in the way of the perverse. He who guards his life keeps far away from them. So thorns and traps and all these obstacles are in the way of the crooked. Those who are crooked, those who are corrupt, those who are perverse. You got thorns, snares, obstacles, and traps is in their way. But he who guards his life keeps far away from them. He who guards his life keeps far away from them. Verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. So you got to train up a child while they're young. Can't start trying to teach them, anyone can't start trying to teach a child when they already feel like they know it all. That's just, that's literally impossible. That's almost impossible for them to learn anything that they feel like they already know They already know better. You have to train up a child while they're young, while they're small. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. So the younger you can train them, the younger you can teach them, this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and these instructions of God, when they get old, they won't turn away from it. They won't turn away from it. Verse 7, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Verse 8, he who sows unrighteousness reaps trouble, and the rod of his wrath perishes. So when you sow unrighteousness, you reap trouble. You reap what you sow. This is like the saying, you reap what you sow. Verse 9, he who has a good eye is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. He who has a good eye is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. Verse 10, cast out the scoffer and strife goes out. Cast out the scoffer and the strife goes out, and contention and shame cease. So you get rid of person who mocks and make fun of others. You get rid of them people. This is what goes with it when you get rid of them. You get rid of the mocker and those who make fun of others. You get rid of these people from around you. Then strife, like drama, all that goes with it. You'll be drama free, shame free, tension free, all of that would go with them. The person that mocks people, and that includes yourself. You stop mocking and making fun of people and slandering people and, making up stories about them. All the drama in your life will pretty much go away. All the drama in your life will go away. All the shame in you will go away. So this holds true. Verse 11, he who loves cleanness of heart, whose speech is pleasant, a sovereign is his friend. So kings make friends of those who try to avoid foul language. Kings make friends with those who are clean in heart, who are genuine people. People with money, kings and queens, people with money, the people with money of today, they try to befriend genuine people, and they try to keep people who, know how to watch their mouth and watch their language around them. Like they they may not be one who watch their own language, but they like to keep people who watch their language around them. This is what kings like to do, and this is what queens like to do. They like to keep better people than themselves around them. Better people than themselves around them. So yeah, you want to strive to be that if you want to be around, people with money, people, who are fortunate, that can likely help you out and open doors for you. Verse 12, the eyes of Yahuwah shall watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the treacherous. Verse 13, the lazy one says there's a lion outside. I am going to be murdered in the streets. Verse 14, the mouth of a strange woman is a deep pit. The one denounced by Yahuwah falls in there. So the mouth of the strange woman is a deep pit. So basically the mouth of a strange woman, what she's saying, a person who's denounced by Yahuwah falls in it. Like they fall for everything that this woman says. They fall for what comes out of her mouth, and they take it to heart and take it seriously and take it as truth, and they end up suffering for it. Verse 15, folly is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of discipline drives it far from them. So foolishness is bound up in the heart of children. Like they want to play, they don't want to listen, they can't sit still. They want to do what's fun or what they believe is fun. And there's no room. The only way to instill discipline is to give them first love, give them direction, give them instructions. Then if they don't follow those instructions and they don't follow those directions, then you have to correct them. And if they continue not to follow those instructions and follow those directions, then that correction turns into discipline of the rod. You know, we all are, man. We all have this folly. We all had this folly in us coming up as children, and even still as adults. And it was the lack of instruction that continued this foolishness in us. It was the lack of direction that continued this foolishness in us. And most of us still don't have direction and still lack instruction. And this is why we have foolishness continuing in our lives. But when you raising a child, you want to first give them love in this order. First give them love, then give them direction, because they may not know, they might not understand your words, but they'll understand where you want them to go. Then you give them instruction when they can understand both your instructions and your words to where to go. And then you correct them when they don't follow those instructions and those directions. When they don't go where you want them to go, you correct them. When they don't follow the instructions that you've given them, you instructed them, then you correct them. And if they continue not to follow those instructions that you instructed and continue not to go in the direction that you sent them, then that correction, that verbal warning, though, that verbal correction turns into discipline, physical discipline. And that's just how it got to go with young children. And when you do that when they're young, you don't have to do it when they get bigger. When they get bigger, they'll start to do it for themselves. When they get older, they start to instruct themselves and they start to discipline themselves and they start to correct themselves. This is the purpose of doing it while they're young. That way, when they're teenagers, they're doing it for themselves, and you don't have to say this to them. You don't have to, you know what I mean? But verse 16, one oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. Another gives to the rich only to come to poverty. So giving to the rich is like, it's backwards. If you don't have money yourself, you don't have it to give. Why are you giving it to people who have more than enough? Why? Trying to impress them, that's not impressing them. That's just going to put you in poverty. Verse 17, incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. Verse 18, for they are pleasant if you guard them within you. They are pleasant if you guard this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. If you guard it within, if you guard it within you, meaning if you memorize it, they are pleasant. If you memorize them, they are pleasant. These are the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, everything that was spoken by the kings like King David and Solomon. Everything the Most High spoke through them. Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. Verse 18, for they are pleasant if you guard them, meaning memorize them within you. Let all of them be ready on your lips. Let all of them be ready on your lips. Memorize them so that they're ready on your lips for you to, speak to yourself and others. Verse 19, that your trust might be in Yahuwah. I caused you to know today, even you. Verse 20, have I not previously written to you of counsels and knowledge? Verse 21, to cause you to know the certainty of the words of truth, to return words of truth to those who send to you. So this is the whole purpose, is to speak truth. Speak the truth to anyone who's, who has to hear it. And that's everyone. Verse 22, do not rob the poor because he is poor, and oppress not the afflicted at the gate. Verse 23, for Yahuwah pleased their cause and shall plunder those who plunder them. Verse 24, make no friendship with one given to wrath, and do not go with a man of rage. Verse 25, lest you learn his ways and find yourself ensnared. This is telling us not to deal with people, not to be around people who are quick to fly off the handle, who have no self-control, who have no self-discipline. They quick to mouth off on anybody and quick to go off on anybody and, throw hands at anybody. We want to separate ourselves from these people and get away from these people, because these are the people that their energy will rub off on us. Their behavior, their habits, their actions rubs off on us, and we'll start doing what they do. Their words rub off on us, and we'll start talking how they talk. And this is what gets us caught up, gets us jammed up, and we're unhinged. Now we're unruly. Now we don't have no self-discipline, no self-control. So we have to get rid of people like that from around us before we pick up, for their habits rub off on us. Verse 26, do not be one of those who shakes hands in a pledge, one of those who are guarantors for the debt. Verse 27, if you do not have the means to pay, why should he take away your bed from under you? So don't vouch for anyone that don't have it. Don't co-sign for anyone that don't have it, because the person that the person that's loaning or giving a loan to that person, they're going to seek to you. They're going to come to you seeking that loan. Just like if you vouch for someone and say that's your friend, and they end up, not carrying out what they promised and what they, signed up for, what they signed off on, and they find out they end up going against or being someone, other than how you presented them and introduced them. Then now the person you introduced them to is looking at you like, you introduced me to this person, like you vouch for this person, like now they looking at you sideways. Verse 27, if you do not have the means to pay, why should he take away your bed from under you? So it's like, yeah, don't sign up for something that you can't afford to pay. Don't live above your means. We're not to live above our means. As tough as it may be, we all have to work on this. Verse 28, do not move the ancient boundary which your fathers have set. Verse 29, do you see a man who is skilled in his work? He does stand before sovereigns. He does not stand before obscure ones. So when you're skilled in your work, when you have something that you've learned and you know something that people are willing to pay you to do, you have a skill that people are willing to pay you to carry out, you're going to find yourself amongst people with money, kings and queens, people with money. You're not going to find yourself amongst, obscure ones, people who are less fortunate. You're going to find yourself around kings, because kings need this work done, and they'll pay you to do this work because you have the skill to do it. And that's with all skills, that's with all professions, that's with all, crafts and, knowledge, education, and degrees. People will pay you to do this stuff. And that completes the reading of the book of Proverbs. We're going to now get into the book of Ecclesiastes. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8. Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 1. Who is like a wise one, and who knows the meaning of a matter? A man's wisdom makes his face shine. A man's wisdom makes his face shine, and the hardness of his face is changed. The hardness of his face is changed. Verse 2, I say, guard the sovereign's command because of the oath before Yahuwah, before Elohim. I say, guard the sovereign's command because of the oath before Elohim. Verse 3, do not be in a hurry to go from his presence. Do not take a stand in an evil matter, for he does whatever he pleases. This is the king. This is the one who the Most High put in authority. All these people are who the Most High put in authority. It's whether you like it or not, whether you agree with them or not, People who are in position of power, the Most High allowed them to be in power. The Most High allowed them to be in position of authority and in power. So it's no point of trying to press against them. And, you know, all you can do is call out evil in general. Call out the evil in general. And if they're convicted of that evil, you know, let them be convicted. Let them be feel ashamed. Let them, feel how they feel, and let it be known in the eyes of the masses and the people. But we can't get into, you know, targeting people indirectly, because that makes you a target. You can't target a person in power, in position of authority and in power. You have to target the evil itself, what they're responsible for. Not them, but the evil that they're responsible for. It's a lot simpler and easier to target the evil, because that's our enemy, the ancient knowledge of evil. It's not the people that it's corrupt. It's we're not, remember, we don't struggle with flesh and blood. We struggle with the evil itself. The powers that be. That's the evil that was brought, the ancient knowledge of evil that was brought in. So this is a good verse. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, by the way, chapter 8. Verse 4, where the word of the sovereign is, there is power. And who says to him, what are you doing? Who's going to tell a person Most High put in authority and put in position of power, what are you doing? They're in position of power. Verse 5, he who guards the command knows no evil matter. He who guards the command knows no evil matter, and the heart of the wise discerns both time and right ruling. The heart of the wise discerns both time and fairness. Time and fairness. So it's levels to that, discerning both. Like knowing how precious time is, how scheduling is, and how precious it is not to waste your time, and also to be fair. This is a lot of these are two things that most people don't have the discernment to balance and manage, is time and not wasting it, and fairness and being fair to others. Verse 6, because for every matter there is a time and right ruling, though the trouble of a man is heavy upon him. So because for every matter there is a time and right ruling, though the trouble of man is heavy upon him. Verse 7, for he does not know what shall be. So who declares to him when it shall be? For he does not know what shall be. So who declares to him when it shall be? That's tough to figure out. That's tough to determine. That's tough to decide, when and, when you don't know what. Verse 8, no one has power over the spirit to retain the spirit. No one has power over the spirit to retain the spirit. So you can have power over the flesh, but you don't have power over the spirit to retain the spirit, like meaning like the spirit knows what is fair. So this is where guilt comes in. Now, this is why people get under the influence, because you can't stop the spirit of God within you from feeling guilty. You can't stop the spirit of God within you from, feeling ashamed. You can't stop the spirit of God within you of convicting your flesh for what is done. And this is why people get under the influence. So this is what this means. No one has power over the spirit to retain the spirit, and no one has power in the day of being unalive. There is no discharge in battle, and wrongness does not release those who are given to it. Wrongness does not release those who are given to it. So if you've fully given into the knowledge of evil, you fully given into the flesh, that's, that's the wrong, and it doesn't it does not release you. Verse 9, all this I have seen. I applied my heart to every work that is done under the sun. There is a time which a man rules over a man for his evil. Verse 10, and so I saw the wrong ones buried, and they came and went from the place of set apartness, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. That too is futile. That too is futile. Good people gone and forgotten. You know? Verse 11, because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is filled in them to do evil. So when justice is not served, people take justice in their own hands. When justice is not served, people take justice in their own hands. This is what the scriptures is saying. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 11. Because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is filled in them to do evil. This is what we are. This is what we do to this day. It's always been this way. People feeling like they have to take matters in their own hands. Verse 12, although a sinner is doing evil 100 times and his life is prolonged, yet I know that there is good to those who fear Elohim, who fear before him. So we may see sinners having a ball, living their best life, appears to be living their best life, you know, and their life is being prolonged. They're growing old. Yet I know that there is good to those who fear Elohim, who hate evil, who fear before him, who hates evil. So there's good to those who, you know, fear God by following his instructions and hating evil, no matter how much of a time the sinners appear to be having or how old they appear to be growing. Verse 13, but it shall not be well with the wrong one, nor would he prolong his days as a shadow, because he does not fear before Elohim. He does not fear before Elohim. So they're going to eventually, you know, dwindle and they won't prolong themselves in the spirit. Verse 14, there is a futility which has been done on earth. There is a futility which has been done on earth, that there are righteous ones who get according to the deeds of the wrong. There are righteous ones who get according to the deeds of the wrong. So righteous people are getting what wrong people deserve. We see that to this day. Righteous people are getting, you know, what should be coming to the wrong. And there are wrong ones who get according to the deeds of the righteous. There are wrong ones who getting according to the deeds of the righteous. So you have the wrong people getting the blessings that the righteous should be getting. I said this too is futile. Verse 15. Therefore I praise enjoyment, because there is no good to a man except to eat and to drink and to rejoice. I repeat this, because there is no good to mankind, as you know, mankind in general, except to eat and to drink and to rejoice. Those three things. Enjoy eating while you can. Enjoy drinking while you can. Not drinking hard drinks and not abuse, you know, wine and getting drunk to you know, if you're poor and depressed that bad, have at it. The scriptures, you know, advise that. But if you're in position of being a king or a queen, we're not to lose ourselves through drinking. And it says here, like, you know, there is no good to man except to eat and to drink and to rejoice, and to rejoice. It's nothing, and I don't have to be nothing alcohol or beverage. It could just be enjoying a beverage, a refreshing beverage, and to eat and to just rejoice, just be joyful, be glad that you're, living and you're free and you know, you're able to smile and laugh and have a time with those you love, you know, go places, go anywhere, go out, get fresh air, feel the, you know, feel the breeze, you know, that's all, that's not a given. That's all blessings. And it's nothing good for a man to do to have a good meal, a refreshing beverage, and to rejoice. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 15. Therefore I praised enjoyment, because there is no good to a man except to eat and to drink and to rejoice, and it remains with him in his labor for the days of his life which Elohim has given him under the sun. Verse 16, when I gave my heart to know wisdom and to see the task which has been done on earth, even though one sees no sleep day or night. When, verse 17, then I saw all the work of Elohim, that man is unable to find out the work that has been done under the sun. So it's like, this is the wisest man who lived at the time. And he understood that everyone was trying to figure out, all the scientists, all the smart guys, other people, who claims to be smart, they were trying to figure out, the work of the Most High, like they are today. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8. In verse 17, he basically describing these scientists today and how they were then, trying to figure out the ends of the earth, the ends of the heavens, the skies, and how far it goes, and how far the earth, and if it's flat, or if it's round, if it's, if it's space, if it's time, if it's other life out there, or the depths of the sea. Man is unable to find out the work that has been done under the sun. For though a man labors to seek this all out, yet he does not find it. And even though a wise one claims to know, he is unable to find it. Even these theories of people claiming to know what happened thousands of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and this is where it gets ridiculous. When you start talking about over 100,000 of years ago, you start talking about millions of years ago, where you can't wrap your head around 1,000 years ago. You're taking the word. You have to take in good faith what happened 1,000 years ago, let alone 500 years ago. Where do you get the audacity to start talking with, confidence in surety that of what happened 100,000 years ago, a millions of years ago? That's when you lose me. That's when I stop listening. That's the nonsense. That's nonsense to me. And that we've made that a norm. I don't know how that became a norm. I don't know where or when that became acceptable for a 38, 48, 58, 70, 80-year-old person to speak on matters of what they believe happened 80 million years ago, 80,000 years ago. Like, please, just stop talking to me. Stop talking to me when you start talking like that. You know what I mean? That's me personally. That was the book of Ecclesiastes. That was the book of Ecclesiastes. That wraps up this live, but I'm gonna log back in and I'm going live again, and I'm going to pick up in the book of, I believe the book I'm gonna be picking up in is the book of Numbers. Yeah, the book of Numbers. So yeah, I'm closing this live out, and I'm going to be popping back on, but I'm going to be picking up in the book of Numbers. I'm just close. This completes the reading of, you know, the book of Psalms, the book of Proverbs, and the book of Ecclesiastes, which is David and Solomon. That completes this, what the Most High spoke through David and Solomon. So I'm going to close this out. I'm going to pick it back up in the book of Numbers. Y'all willing, you're able to join. If not, I appreciate your patience. Appreciate stopping through. Until next time, peace, love, Shabbat shalom, love, and peace.